Hi, yeah, it's Jackie here from the LGFA with another Zoom call, and we're focusing very much on officiating and refereeing today. And my two very special guests are Brendan Rice from County Down from the, hopefully I'll get the pronunciation right, Brendan, Cumann Pheadair Naofa
That's
club,
it.
and I have Sinead McHugh as well, bottom of the screen from St. Michael's in Donegal. Folks, how are you both doing?
Keep them well.
Good, yeah.
Good,
Keep
good to
well,
have you
well,
on
yeah.
board today. At least the weather has been quite good during lockdown, which is some consolation. Brendan, I'll start with your good self, two-time TG Cahill All-Ireland Senior Final match referee. And in the background, I believe we have yourself and the team captains Tracy Leonard from Galway and Sinead Ahern from Dublin prior to the 2019 All-Ireland final at
Yeah.
Croke Park. Brendan, it was a wet day with a big crowd. The standard affair wasn't the prettiest, but I think everyone could agree you done a terrific job on the day. Your second All-Ireland senior final, Brendan. What is that experience like to take charge of games of that magnitude? And again, with the increased spotlight and increased attendances and TV and all that kind of stuff, how do you get yourself into the right frame of mind to do the job at hand?
Well, I suppose it's every referee. Well, when you start out and you get to like a national panel, I suppose it's every referee's dream to get an All Ireland final of any sort. But I suppose to have two under my belt and hopefully maybe some more. No, it's fabulous. To be able to say that you've been at the top and refereed the top games is magnificent. Now I know on the day it was wet and it was a cagey affair, so it was, but it still doesn't take away from the whole build up to the actual game, and even for the team, the fourth official, standby referee, my young umpires, the lines people. It's a marvelous day out. So it is.
I'm going to touch on that team aspect as well, Brendan, because obviously you're the man in the middle, but you're very reliant on a team around you as well to get through the day. Sinead, a very proud graduate from the officiating strand of our Learn to Lead female leadership programme. We've chatted before, and well done. It was an amazing journey for you, Sinead.
Yeah, it was an amazing journey for the year, and one that we all, I can safely say, all 20 participants, we didn't actually foresee. I suppose maybe went in a little bit naive, kind of thinking that maybe like that, Brian was saying, get it on the next ladder of the referee aspect and, have that dream of maybe refereeing in Croke Park. But it was a totally different opportunity, I suppose, that arose for each of us, not just in our own officiating, but also just from a leadership perspective from ourselves. It was great just, and touching on what Brendan said there as well, the team aspect. I found this year the fact that, I had Sue Carty as a mentor and as a coach, Maria Callanan. I mean, they were great resources, to be able to touch base with and, have that team around you, I suppose, to support you as well.
Sinead, where do you think you are on your journey, and where would you like to get to? You've already mentioned, obviously, getting to Croke Park and on All Ireland final day. That's obviously the aspiration and the goal, and I think we all need goals and dreams to aspire to.
Yeah, I suppose, Jackie, that's it. Like Brendan was saying, it's hoping that, you can get to Croke Park someday for All Ireland final day. But at the end of the day, I suppose I view that as the end product. And it's very much, for me at the minute, it's very much the process. So
Correct.
it's the next game, and it's about treating, your under 12 game exactly the same as your senior championship game or whatever the case is. It's getting the preparation right. It's after every single game, it's looking back, what did you do well? What can you change, or areas for development? So to me, I think if I can get that done in every game and improve that, then the final step might be, Croke Park. But I suppose, yeah, I view it very much as a process, every game. And I'm thinking if I can get every game right, then it's a case of the journey will lead on.
Brendan, where do you think we are in terms of females and getting more to get involved in refereeing? Obviously, we have a couple of high-profile inter-county referees who are female, but it would be nice to have more, obviously.
Oh, it would surely. Like we have Maggie and Siobhan there at the moment, and at the moment, and like Sinead, I've been out as a tutor. And when you go round the counties, I've been in this over the last couple of years. I've been in Meath, Kildare, Donegal, Tyrone. An awful lot of the people that attend the courses are girls. But I think maybe the biggest problem is they're all still playing. And it's whether, it's a decision they need to make. Do they wait till after a football career? Do they maybe bite the bullet and become a referee? Big decisions there, particularly for the younger girls who would like to do it, but also still try and have a football career is a difficult decision for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sinead, counties can counties do more to encourage people starting out as linespersons? We've had the webinars recently as well, and there've been big numbers online looking to find out more information of how to become a female linesperson. You gave us a very succinct and informative video to promote that as well. Can we do more in that regard?
Yeah, I think every county can do more, but I think, it's like Brendan was saying there, it's very much up to the counties, to try and maybe pinpoint people, but that idea as well of, still playing, and I suppose I certainly fell into that bracket of I was playing and then I was coaching, so refereeing came later on. But I think, to get players involved, within your lines people refereeing at a young age, like Brendan's saying, from a tutoring perspective, we do see, particularly at Go games, it's a lot of young, girls, teenagers that are looking to get into refereeing. So to me, I think the main obstacle there is it's a support system around the referees then, or the officiating. So it's building that maybe buddy system in. It's having that touch base. I know I've been very lucky and teaching in Wicklow, so I would do some refereeing in Dublin Wicklow, and I'm very lucky to have the likes of Steve McNulty to bounce things off, or just to get perspective on. So to me, I do think counties can put in more of an effort as regards the body system, touch and base, getting games, giving games, to new referees coming on board as well, and building that support structure for them.
You mentioned the young kids, refereeing. I think some of the loveliest moments we've seen over the last few years when we have the exhibition days at Croke Park and the kids are doing the mini games. It's absolutely fantastic to see, and that's obviously their starting point and their touch point, Sinead.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it's interesting. Yeah, like those kind of games, even the mini games, Croke Park, you see, and it's just the norm for them. So I think, to get them at a younger age group and to get them in as well. It was interesting. I mean, I have 3 little nephews here in Donegal. The oldest is 7, and they watch football non-stop. But funny, whenever they watch the ladies' games, one of them, Michael, did say, "Why is there a man referee there?" So they should see, they view it as, the male referee for the male. So I suppose it's trying to build that, and like Brendan was saying, the likes of Maggie Farley, Siobhan Coyle, they're trailblazers, I suppose, and people that we would look up to, and try to bounce things off as well. So it's onwards and upwards, hopefully.
Absolutely. Brendan, you were match referee in 2016 for the Cork-Dublin game, obviously Dublin-Galway at Croke Park last year. Your original interest in refereeing stemmed from your job as a school teacher as well. I think you completed the Accelerate program in 2007, and you made a pretty steady rise up the ranks, Brendan. So you were obviously doing something.
The refereeing came as a bit of a big push from the club, as you've already mentioned. It was through coming to Munster, and it was always a case of when you arrived with your school, the youngest teacher was handed the whistle and away you go. So in my younger days as a teacher, I was in the middle for quite a number of primary school games. The club got to know about it and asked me would I take on the role. And I suppose it wasn't, in our own club, we wouldn't have had a girls' football club. So I actually would have been refereeing for one of the neighbouring clubs in the ladies' game. And it wasn't until we did the Gaelic for Girls within my own primary school that we set up our own football club. And I suppose from then, I got heavily involved with the LGFA side. And even though I was probably making my way along the ranks of the men's, I decided to also go for the ladies. So it had worked out well, and the Accelerate program was excellent that year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking through your extensive CV. You did a junior club final, All-Ireland club final, You did an intermediate All-Ireland club final. You did a senior All-Ireland club final. 2016 was a big year for you, though, Brendan. You did obviously the senior final, Cork and Dublin, but you also did the Lidl National League final, Cork and Mayo at Parnell Park. So, that was obviously a nice year and a landmark year for you.
Yeah. It was a landmark. It was a big surprise because, after getting the National League final, even sitting chatting to me umpires and that, and I had sort of said, look, that was our big day for the year. Look, we'll take what comes and we'll see how it goes. And we did the All-Ireland semi-final that year, Dublin Mayo. That was the one where Sinead scored the point on the hooter.
Up in Breffni.
And after that game, it was a great game. And
game.
We were leaving there from Breffni saying, basically that's the season. We had a great year. And we'll see what 2017 brings. And I remember getting a phone call. I was actually getting ready to go to school. It must have been the start of September, and getting a phone call to say that I had been selected for the All-Ireland final. And I mean, it was a big shock, big surprise, a surprise that was very welcome. And I remember ringing all the umpires, the 4 or 5 that I would have been using regular, and they couldn't believe it either. It was a big surprise, a very welcome one, as I said.
I was like, okay, so lads, don't be going on any holidays or anything like that. We've something big coming in a couple of weeks. Sinead, and I'm going to go back to Brendan on this one as well. The team aspect of being part of, you're obviously an individual official, but you're very much part of a team as well when you're out on the field of play, and that communication from all sides is massively important as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing. I suppose you kind of think, from a playing perspective, there's a squad of 25 or 26, and whenever you get refereeing, it's yourself out there. But it's not. I mean, like Bren's saying, your team officials, your lines people, your umpires. It's a huge just communication, and like that, it's even the social aspect. Going to games or halftime before the match, just bouncing things off people and that. So it's a real team effort, and I suppose it's probably becoming more difficult now, to be honest, Jackie, as regards your lines people, your umpires, trying to get your umpires, to go to every game. That's certainly been a struggle, and probably going back to earlier, maybe someplace, the counties can help support, officiates as well within that, is to build that support around you. But yeah, such an important team, and like that, it's a team at the end of the day, yeah.
Absolutely. You're both teachers, obviously. Sinead, how has lockdown been, and how has it affected your role, and how have you managed to adapt?
Yeah, it's been a big change, and I suppose, listen, we kind of thought, coming into March, we kind of thought, there might be a few days off or whatever, but we never foreseen, so many weeks. So it was a deep learning curve. And online teaching, and definitely an online classes. Not, I suppose I'm PE and maths teacher, so it was like that, setting challenges. We were lucky enough, we got our staff, our students, and their parents and guardians actually on board for a fitness challenge as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so things like that over a weekend. I mean, they were good fun, and getting students out, and I suppose it's building that spirit within in the school, and trying to keep that sense of community. And I suppose, while I wasn't back in Bray at the time, whenever you're talking to people, there was loads of people out and about, and students and teachers and everyone out tracking their kilometres and whatnot. So it builds that rapport. But yeah, I mean, from the maths perspective, it was different as well. You're trying to teach online classes. I suppose the workload was very different. Getting used to that, and you had to be mindful of as well. Students might have been, maybe working during the day or minding siblings or that. So these maybe were coming through at, 10 or 11 o'clock at night, or things like that. So in that sense, yeah, it was long hours. But in saying that, I enjoyed the flexibility, I suppose, as well. There were certainly days where, maybe 12 or 1 o'clock in the day, I was able to get out for my run. Where normally the fitness doesn't come in, until at least 6 or 7 o'clock every evening, by the time you get finished up. So, yeah, steep learning curve, but I'm kind of hoping that we don't have to look forward to it in September. But yeah, I think we're going to have to be doing maybe some kind of online in September. So I'd say it's with us for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all that evolves. Yeah, it's nice to get those runs done early in the day, Brendan, so you can kind of relax for the rest of the day. Now, you'll always get the slags about the long holidays, and people, oh, sure, they've been on a long, long holiday now, but it's far from that, Brendan. I'm sure it's been full on since all this pandemic.
It has. As Sinead's been saying, it's a totally different ball game. You know, I don't know, I wouldn't be used to sitting at a laptop for best part of the day, you know, and I mean uploading work for the kids. We were doing it like on a fortnightly basis, so we were trying to get a fortnight's work and getting it, planning ahead and sitting at a laptop and searching and sourcing work for them and building that up. It was serious. I was getting awful neck and back pain just because you were sitting at a laptop. Well, I'm just not used to it. The bit about, as she says, the flexibility definitely was brilliant. I used to, like, I teach in the town where I'm from in the school, and I'd be out for a 12 o'clock run, and I'd always be saying to myself, this is your lunch hour, this is your lunch hour. Anybody, you know, Jesus, should that boy not be, should that lad's out running the roads, walking the roads, should he not be in doing a bit of work? But, you know, it totally different, but, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, whereas it sort of looks like the North seemed that once the South put out what they're going to do, it seems like the North come in a week later and it's a great idea. So we sort of keep an eye on what the Southern schools are doing, and we sort of know, right, we're going to be doing that next week. But no, it's definitely challenging. It's different than what we're used to. You know, we're not standing in front of our kids. We're supposed to be back in August, maybe, August, September. There's talk of half classes, a Wednesday, no kids in for preparation for the following week. So to have your in-class stuff, your out-of-class online work done, so it's definitely a big change for a lot of professions, but definitely in education.
Yeah, strange times indeed. So you've touched on something there as well, Brendan, about keeping in shape throughout. So how have you managed to do that? You've obviously been going for 5Ks and maybe beyond that. But at the same time, Brendan, before we started recording here, you did mention the fact that for referees, it's not necessarily about distance. It's more that short, sharp stuff that you need to concentrate on.
Yeah, it's I think at the start of lockdown, it seemed to be easy because you were just happy to get out of the house and you went off on runs. And I know I got myself up to half marathon, up to 13 mile on my run, and I sort of saying to myself, as much as it was great, it's definitely not what is required as a referee. We've had a couple of, when you were speaking about teams earlier on, and Sinead mentioned about your team of umpires and teams of lines people and that, but I have to admit, the team that I'd always look back, the first team they're part of is the national referees team. And we've already had a couple of webinars and sessions, online sessions together already. And we've had one with Cliona. In fact, we're meeting tonight to do a bit of a training session tonight online. So, I mean, chatting to the boys, seeing what the boys are up to and the girls, you know, bouncing ideas off them about training and that there is very, very good. But, you know, now that we see that there is a bit of a horizon and that there is games coming, I think it's going to make it a wee bit more easier, and that you have a goal now to set, say, oh, right, in 1 month, I want to be in this kind of shape. It's sort of, I suppose it's been up in the air, not knowing whether we were going to get any football, and you were listening and watching the sort of social media, and you would, Leinster were coming in and they were postponing their inter-county championships, and you're expecting the rest of the provinces, and you were sort of hoping, God, that there'd be some sort of football. But now that we have a bit of a pathway, I'm sure every referee will be out running the roads and running the pitches and getting themselves into, and losing the few pound they've put on in lockdown, getting themselves ready.
Well, I tell you, by looking at the two, you're both in excellent shape. There's no fear of that. But Bren, I did ask Sinead about
from the shoulders up.
Brendan, I did ask Sinead about the team aspect and the team element, and when you made that call to your umpires back in 2016, how reliant are you on that effective communication between umpires, lines people, fourth official, yourself. It's I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
it's a massive part of what you do.
highly reliant. I have to admit now, when I came in the inter-county at 2013, and like 7 years later, I mean, the fitness levels of the girls, their style of play, all has changed. The speed of the ladies' game is second to
It's
none.
phenomenal.
It is unreal, the changes in those years. And I mean, you've your eyes, your referees just constantly on the ball. You maybe take a wee look here or there to check to see how play is building up, but it's 90% of the time it's where the ball is, because that's where the action is, and you need to help for what's happening around your back, or even just the wee word, like Sinead could be on the line and saying, Brenton, have a word with blue 5 and red 10. Just wee things like that are definitely needed. Definitely needed. So it's not just all about the person in the middle. The referee in the middle is only as good as the team he has around him.
Yeah, very much so. Sinead, just going back to the Learn to Lead, are you still in touch with your fellow strand members? I'm sure you've the WhatsApp group is humming away, and how are they all?
Yeah, no, they're all doing good. I suppose like that. We're all looking forward to getting back on a pitch, get back training, and like that. I suppose like Brendan, listen, it's trying to keep yourself tipping over, get the kilometres in like that every week, and sort of looking forward to getting back now. Hopefully August looks like the roadmap, so hopefully, please God, that'll continue. But yeah, no, they're all in good form, and they're all, like that. We're sort of on, the WhatsApp most days, sort of, keeping track of who's doing what, and so it's like that. It's encouragement as well. There definitely has been difficult days in the lockdown where work-wise, or there's a lot going on that, and to be able to get out every day for your exercise or whatever. So yeah, it's been a great support as well, for each of us.
It's very important. I found it very important to connect with people during this time, Sinead, and obviously it's a little bit easier in the job that I'm in. That's effectively communications and talking to people. But I think that and it was part of the Youth Mental Health Week we would have had recently. That connect piece is hugely important, because I have to admit there were some days I found a lot more challenging than others. There were some days when I was quite low, so I think it was important to stay in touch with people and tell them how you're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, and like that, and I suppose like that, it's been hard in a way, because you try and you're ringing people, or you're doing the Zoom calls or that with friends and that, and people are busy then, and they've got other Zoom calls coming in and that sort of stuff. So it's sort of like trying to do a timetable around what time suits and
a Zoom table.
Yeah. But no, like that, it's vitally important. I suppose it's something that we were very, very acutely aware, in school time as well, for our students. Like, I know most of them would probably give out about coming to school every day, or they don't like it or whatever, but reality was the social aspect of it. They just loved the school, being in classes, in contact with other people. So yeah, and that was the same. And I suppose I've been lucky enough now. I've been at home in Donegal for the last few weeks. Like Brent's saying, going out for a run and that, a run could take me maybe 2 hours, because you just stop talking to the locals then. So you're stopping and starting to watch every few minutes. But it's been great, and I suppose like that, when things get so busy, like school or work or refereeing and the coaching and everything, it was actually nice now to to have the time and to slow down, that little bit, and connect more with people, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, and just to take notice, I think, was another team, and be active as well. So you're hitting on all of the major points there. Just to get a bit of exercise, I think is massively important, if you can.
I was going to just say there, Jackie,
yes,
that bouncing off people and getting together and keeping your mental health good. That came to the fore when the 4 referees won the rules.
Well, that's right. Now, Brendan, we would have been asking questions if you didn't win that particular quiz. I have to say.
The reason for the name, the whole laugh was, I'll never forget you going, Fran, Millie, Ted. It was the 4 names of the dogs, so nobody knew who it was. So they didn't know it. Seamus, Gio, and Johnny. It was a good laugh.
Yeah, it would have been
Oh, don't
just.
worry, we let everybody know we did win it.
Oh, you certainly did. I was getting messages in, all right. I'll tell you what, if you didn't win it, there would have been questions asked. Sinead, if there's anybody thinking of getting involved in officiating, what would be your message to them? If, I like this, I like the idea of it, I like the idea of making new friendships, of being part of a team, by seeing the country, what would be your message?
I'd say just go for it. I'd say, listen, I found it probably very daunting at the start, but would never regret it. I mean, like that, the social aspect, going around the country, meeting new people, new clubs, new counties, like that. You could be working with the likes of Brendan, on any given day, be it in Clonus or the likes, and then you're down the south of the country, whatever the case is. But to be honest, Jackie, I suppose I got from it as well. There's a real sense of self-satisfaction in it as well. And coming off a pitch and knowing you've done a good job
Yeah.
or things to work on, that's a major thing as well, to get from it. And I suppose as well, just going back to what Brian was saying, I mean, the teamwork, but I would find the communication aspect he had mentioned with his lines people and that, I would say the communication with the players. That's, I be refereeing and you're talking to the players all the time, and the respect that you get for it, and it's just that clear communication lines are open where you're always maybe little things like that, having a word with, but it's not just having a word like pulling them up on that you saw the tugging a jersey or whatever the case is. It's whenever a player falls or trips over, that you're having a word like that, number 5, Red, you okay, or good, carry on, or things like that. So to me, it's been a majorly rewarding experience as well, and yeah, particularly as well, different aspects. I mean, yeah, I've been lucky enough to referee now Dublin, Wicklow, and hopefully I was meant to be doing Phelan now at the end of this month in Donegal as well. So, I mean, yeah, the social aspect is huge as well.
Yeah, you're doing extremely well, Sinead, I have to say. Brendan, from your own point of view, what would be your message to anybody that's thinking of picking up a flag or putting the whistle to mouth?
I would definitely recommend it. I would even say that I probably came into this too late. So I did. And I mean that seriously. I kept playing and playing and playing well into my 30s. And when I look back now, I wish I had have taken on the whistle long before I did, because like Sinead's meant the sense of sort of the rewards, the people you meet, the rewards you get from it. Like it maybe coming from myself, having refereed as the finals, that is a part of it. And when you get there, yes, you want it. But coming off the field and having 30 players and supporters management, saying well done, ref. When you can come off the field and the losing team come up and say, referee, you referee that way, well done. It wasn't, we can't blame you. Small things like that people might see as small, but as a referee are massive. Just the wee comments. And as Sinead mentioned about chatting to players, like we do have, maybe it's the teacher and us that we're always talking and communicating, but even some of the banter that you would have on the pitch, I know we probably shouldn't have, but even just wee comments and that there, wee things like that there where they get to know you personally and not know what they can get away with, but wee things like that are massive to a referee.
I remember writing a book about a referee before, actually, Brendan, Paddy Russell, who used to be on the inter-county scene.
Yeah.
And he told me a story one day. I think he was refereeing a Kerry game, and Dara O'Shea was playing. And Dara says to him, Paddy, you're having a bit of a stinker today. And Paddy turned around to him and said, you're not doing too great yourself, Dara, now, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So to bring that little bit of humour into it is absolutely fantastic. Sinead, you wanted to get in there as well?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, Brendan, whenever you have like that, team managers or players saying well done, sometimes you have to do, a double take on it just to see if they're actually being smart or the likes. But no, like that, you do find that coming off, and you kind of look at them a second look just to make sure they're actually being genuine. But yeah, it's like those little comments, and it does wonders as well, I suppose, for your self-confidence as well,
Brilliant. And I wish it
for any young girl, in particular, because we, it is the LGFA and we are lagging, but any young girl that has any inkling any inkling or thought of taking it on, grasp it. I mean, get involved with your county. If you're noticed, if your county, the county will try and do its best. If they notice you being any way of that can be pushed on through provincial and international would be great. But no, if you have the thought of doing it, I definitely recommend it. The rewards definitely outweigh the sort of negatives that can come with refereeing.
Yeah, we do need more officials as well. I'm sure it's fair enough to say that right across the country. Brendan Rice and Sinead McHugh, good talking to you today. Hope your families are well in these strange times, and we look forward to seeing you both back doing what you do best on the field of play very, very soon. Brendan Rice from the Cumann Pheadair Naofa club in County Down, and Sinead McHugh from St Michael's in Donegal. Thanks for being my very, very special guests today, and we hope to see you soon, and stay safe and stay well.
Cheers,
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks.